Do, 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 do. Hello, everybody. We have my glove. Bam. We have our pens. Bam. We have something to color with. Bam. And now we are going to get ready to draw. Now, it's becoming really fun because I am allowing people from my Discord, a private Discord that I started for my subscribers. They're telling me a lot of fun things that they would like to be covered. So I'm going to start using those questions to start my videos off. Now, I'm going to also take the questions from you guys, like I always do, but I want to make sure that my subscribers get answered, or the answers that they want. So we're gonna do that. All right, let me get into the chat room over here on YouTube to make sure that everything is good. And we are set to go. All right, so I want to design something for my followers. And seeing as I call you guys my peeps, I have been thinking about creating a t-shirt design where it's like a little peep, like the little candy. So it'll be like a little candy that's nice and soft. Beep. Right? Squishy. And then I want that, but I want that to be like an army. So it's gonna be my peep army. This is gonna have like a little military helmet. And he's gonna have some battle scars. No dog tag. I'm gonna stream with a pencil. I don't know. It'll be something like that. Maybe with that. Ooh, maybe I'll just make these into the emoticons, so you can make like little peeps. Peeps. Anyways, let's continue on. I just wanted to fill up a little bit more of that page. What we talked about yesterday was interesting. We talked about our base head shape. Our base head shape and how and why it's important to be able to get that base shape in your system, in your mental library, in order to be able to successfully be able to navigate how to, explore different styles, different, proportions, different things like that. Let me close out some stuff that's making noise. I was playing some League of Legends before I started streaming, so da-da. All right, we have some people in the chat room. Abel Mendoza Jr. Hey, man, can you draw a knight? I can definitely attempt to draw a quick knight to fill out this page. Let's see. So knights have like cool helmets, right? And then they have like their armor. And I kind of know what the armor looks like because I've been doing I was doing when I was with my ex-girlfriend. We were doing a lot of medieval reenactment stuff. So I have my own suit of armor. I don't think I'll ever be able to be using it again because I'm not going to be doing those sort of things. But I have a medieval armor that was, set up and made mostly by me. So it's definitely something that I'm familiar with. It depends on the type of knight you're talking about. If you're thinking old school, I don't know, King Arthur type of fantasy type of knight, or you're talking about an actual knight from real history, because they were different. Knights were kind of jerks and bullies. But yeah. Okay, let's see. We have a knight. And now we are going into our main topic for today, which is going to be a pretty cool thing. we're going to be drawing a character. So this character is going to be our first character for our subscriber story. So now we are going to just be taking a little exploration into a random monster or animal or anything like that based on what you guys suggest. So start saying random stuff, peeps, because this is what's going to this is going to develop into a story over time. So we will start with a basic character based on what you guys, say. We will start developing it little by little. So Ron D says, "Hey Rodgon, when is your next 21 Draw course scheduled to be released? I'm a 21 Draw member. Loved your first course." Ooh, well, my course for 21 Draw, the next one that's coming out, I should be finished with it soon. So I'll be done with it probably most likely this weekend. So I'll be done with that, and then it goes on to them for them to process it and make sure they edit it in a format that they really, really want, like, or how they do their own courses, because I normally send them like an edit version of how I would do it, and then they change it to, however it fits their teaching methods a little bit more. And then from there, it's just a matter of waiting for them to actually upload it to their website and promote it and stuff like that. Seeing as I tend to bring a little bit more of a crowd with my courses, I'm like excited to say that this is probably the best course that I've done in like ever. It's like the most detailed course that I have ever done. It's quite freaking awesome, honestly. Like I'm not even gonna deny it. That like I'm tooting my own horn right here. How about a carnivorous plant? Ooh. So a carnivorous plant. What is that? Okay, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of carnivorous plant is the Mario Brothers. The little plants that come up and they have like the lips and stuff. Alright, let's see. So these little dudes are the first thing that comes to mind when I think carnivorous plants. So if we wanted to make a carnivorous plant into an actual character, let's see, what do Venus flytraps actually look like? There's a couple carnivorous plants. There's like Bellsprout, the Pokemon, is based on an actual plant. It's based on, it's like a little like lily pad that has like, like an opening in the top, and then like this lid closes down and there's like liquid inside of here, so it like attracts little flies. And then they get stuck, and then they end up getting digested in there. I know those. Then the Venus flytraps, I forget what they're like actually shaped like. Is it like that? Yeah, because they're based on these. Those are based on the Venus flytraps. So drawing plants is fun. It takes time to actually be able to draw the textures properly, especially with pen. It takes a lot of, going out and actually experimenting and cross-hatching and figuring out all those little details. And I figured I need to draw a little bit bigger so that you people on YouTube can see it. Love it. Looks bad. It looks bad. Like, does it look like bad on the stream? Please let me know on Instagram, on YouTube. If you guys can let me know if this looks clear or if it looks fuzzy. That is my biggest concern with the YouTube stream. I'm still testing out everything that I'm like using to stream to both platforms at the same time. So it's it's crucial that if you guys have like any issues with the visibility, or if it looks weird, if the like audio sounds weird, anything like that, let me know. I am fairly good technical stuff, so within a day I fixed the stream from being laggy to hopefully it's not as laggy anymore. But you know, it didn't take too long. It wasn't all that hard to figure that out. But I only am able to figure that out if you guys help me out by letting me know if there's an issue. Don't worry, I won't take it as criticism. This is all learning pains for trying to make this into a more viable, actual like full-time thing. So the goal for me is to be able to generate enough of an audience in which I can actually this has white spots, totally forgot, to be able to generate an audience in which I can create my freelance work and then show you guys how I do it. So doing it through Twitch or through figuring out a way to do it through like TikTok or something. But to be able to show you guys how to actually go about creating professional projects. Like if somebody reaches out for me to do a logo, I can teach you guys how to do a logo. Like how the process works and everything. It's clear. And for animal, a squid in a root beer. oh, that person's already like thinking about the end. Okay, since you already thinking about our final animal, I'm gonna write it down. Squid in root beer. Ooh, he beat you guys all to it. Okay, so at the end of the streams, we normally draw an animal doing something cute. So that's in this last stream that we did. It was a little dragon in a cup. So this time around, we're gonna draw a little squid in the squid in the root beer. Perfect. Okay, so let's see. Continuing on with our design, or a plant. So if we wanted to make a carnivorous plant, we need to find a way to humanize it so that it actually has life. Now, if I were to draw a plant and I had to do a carnivorous type of plant, I wouldn't put it in a pot. Let's see. I'm gonna take elements of this guy with elements of this guy. So I'm going to take the body shape. And then I'm going to actually set it into a little scene. The reason that I'm going to be doing this is because it's easier to convey an emotion of story from the get-go if you start putting your things into scenes. That is what my main focus is going to be in my next sketchbook. Mostly because that is a very, very weak point in my design. I need to generate more storytelling aspects and get better at that. Mostly because I want to tell my own stories. It's not like so I can apply anywhere or like anything. I just want to be able to tell my stories better. So that's what motivates me. That's what drives me. That's what wakes me up in the morning, right? It's not necessarily like, oh, I gotta draw something else today. I have to draw something else today. No, it's like I get to. I'm healthy. I'm in a good state of mind. You know, it's whenever life is good and it's going well, we never acknowledge it. We tend to never acknowledge the fact that life is going well. It's only when life is going like shit that we wish that life was going well again. So if we don't acknowledge when we are happy and we are grateful for it as badly as we are whenever we are suffering, when we're going through bad times, that's when we start feeling like a disparity, you know, like it's an unbalance. So whenever things are going well, when things are not miserable and you're doing okay, learn to celebrate that. All right, let's see. Okay, so we have a shape. And to make this into a character, oh man, this is gonna be tough because we can make it into like a plant that's like gigantic and have like some human characters looking at it and dealing with it, right? By simply creating a couple elements here on the floor, I can make this feel like it's a gigantic plant that's maybe connected to a tree and all vines and stuff. So we could make it all mystical and magical and right, just by generating a little bit of texture to add like tree branches and vines and things that are generating depth by showing me that this element is in fact a three-dimensional form. Instead of just a flat line, it's actually a form in space, right? And if you wanted to make this into more like a creepy one, since we're going into October, right? Let's make this creepy as fuck. So now it's gonna be like this mysterious little spooky man eyes inside of the when you are filling in spaces with ballpoint pen, it's never gonna be a solid black at first, right? It's never gonna be, because you're laying down such thin lines, you would have to like literally fill in every little nook and cranny to be able to get that deep black. But you can use that to your advantage, because now I went in one direction, right? And the basic premise of cross hatching is to have your hatching, which is this type of like, shading. You turn it around at whatever direction and then you cross hatch to create a deeper tone of that same black. So I just want to create a darker tone where this guy's face is. Okay. I go back and forth in those same two angles to reinforce more shadows where I want them. But I'm not going to be going all over the place. I'm only going to stick to those two angles to generate the depth that I need. And every time I go back into it, it's gonna get a little darker and give you a nice little effect of a gradient. And since he's a plant, he will have some creepy branch fingers. So this reminds me kind of like an elder god, or like what are they called in Magic the Gathering? There's like a certain name for like the elder like wood like tree people. And the beauty of monster hands is that they can be so weirdly shaped, especially with plants, because they don't follow any structure. So just have fun with it. As long as it looks good and it matches the styling that you want, you don't have to worry too much about the structure of it. You can add a little bit of cross-hatching to elements to make them stand out in the back, essentially creating a little bit of a shadow, right, by darkening the line a little bit. You can do that to the sides of anything to create a little bit more depth for that section. Like, let's say I want to make this little thing look a little bit more round. So I just add a little bit of cross-hatching here, a little bit of cross-hatching here, and a tiny bit inside. And now that just looks more like a cylinder. And that is going to be a door. Again, generating depth wherever I can. Make it look like a passage. Creating some negative space. The tree would not be just flat. It would have like random roots coming out of the ground. So it would not be just a flat line. Now it's starting to give me like Aladdin vibes. Like House of Wonders vibes. And we'll have some... See, the one thing I love about ballpoint pen is that if anyone in the audience here has ever seen or like, you know, read the books, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It's a relatively old, like, kids book that has like scary stories. But the artwork inside is fantastic. Like, oh my god. It's so creepy and so perfect. Like, I still think of it like sometimes whenever I'm drawing and I'm like thinking of something creepy. I'm like, okay, I gotta draw something creepy as hell. Alright? Like, that is my go-to like thought process. Going to where like the sketchiness of the lines, the weird like proportions, the stress that you feel when you see the artwork. Like, honestly, do yourself a favor right now and then just Google Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And that is essentially what I used to love like about those books. It wasn't necessarily the stories. The stories were good, but the artwork is just so creepy. And I love being creeped out. I've always loved that. So it's I'm a huge fan of movies that try to scare you. I am not frightened easy, so it's I've just been I'm able to predict a lot of things. So I'm just one of those like people that just like yeah, cool, oh that's funny, and then like people will try to scare me and stuff. It just doesn't work. But I like scaring the living hell out of people. In Halloween, my favorite thing to do on Halloween is not to go trick-or-treating. It's not to watch scary movies. It's to go scare the hell out of people. Like, I like to dress up like a zombie or like a shadow, and then just like hide and just like go like ooh, and then just spook the living hell out. It's so fun. Alright. So he would be casting a large shadow over all this area, probably. Now we have a little bit of, you know, negative space with textures for like plants. We can add an extra element of size by adding elements that we recognize as tall already in the shape of trees. We could add buildings if we wanted to, but that would look a little weird out in what we assume to be the woods. But you can add trees very easy with a little bit of cross hatching. You could add some mountains and stuff like that as well. A lot of this stuff though, like I learned a lot of this stuff through doing caricatures for so long. And I know that sounds kind of like counter like weird because like caricatures are super cartoony and super like one shot and that's it, right? Like you don't really have much space to like play with. But since you gotta draw really, really quick, it teaches you a lot of valuable skills. Like learning how to make things look like something else without doing much. Like these are human beings and they look like human beings and they look like part of a bigger story, but in reality it's just two little tiny stick figures. Like, all right, let's make these eyes a little smaller. A little bit more of these little fuzzies. I know they're like little teeth and stuff. Not little teeth though. They're like little tiny like thingies just to prevent things from flying out. Okay, so this is gonna be like pouring. The other way that I could go about this is to create a mouth that goes along with these little thingies and just make it even creepier. I really like that, by the way. So we're gonna use this and imagine that there's a little bit of thickness before the edge of the plant so that we can create a nice little mouth without it looking like it's connecting. So creating those little tiny gaps, those little tiny elements are things that are gonna make you just realize that you've come a long way. These are things that normally beginners and people don't really think about because they're worried about the form, the function, the how to like, you know, not screw up on the pen, you know, like how to not like leave little ink blots, or, you know, maybe I'm like overworking this area, blah, 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 blah. All those little thoughts that go away over time because you draw so much. They when you realize this and you like realize, oh man, I can do this now, wow. Like, and I'm not like tooting my own horn on this sense because, you know, this is something that I do every single day. But whenever you're not doing this every day and you get that feeling of like, oh man, like I can finally draw women, I can finally draw I can finally draw a comic. Like, look back and realize how much you've achieved before you put yourself down for not having achieved enough. That is one thing that I actually like have to reinforce a lot with the people that are my apprentices. Be proud of who you have become over the time span that you've been doing art, as opposed to being mad or angry or sad that you're not exactly at the place you want to be at yet. Let me look while we color. Let me answer some questions on there. Looks clear. I think I'm in bad. Oh, you mentioned background is clear. Our animal squid would be a maybe closer look. We can work on expressions. Come on. I've been wondering if I should buy the Royal Travel watercolor kit. And when I saw you just now flip it open so easily and use it, I put it in my Walmart cart app. Only 2 left. Yeah, these are good. I like these. I like these watercolors. They're convenient. They're not the prettiest. They're not the widest range of color. They're not the best quality. I think like 17 of the tabs have broken already. But I can literally take it anywhere and then just like not worry about it being lost. It's just that's the convenient part of it. Much like every other part and every other like piece of equipment that I use, I don't use expensive stuff because in case I ever lose it or my bags get stolen or anything like that, I end up, needing to replace it. And when it's super expensive stuff, well, let's just say that it hurts. And I'm a person that doesn't even spend money on themselves much at all. So I'm I'm that weird type of people that like I'll spend like $1,000 on someone else, but when it comes down to spending it on myself, I'm like, I don't need it. Nah, I don't need food today. Psh. Oh, someone needs $1,000 because their plant is dying. Okay, cool. Here you go. That's who you're dealing with here. So it's like the kettle calling like the pot black, or however that saying goes. Okay, so we have a little bit of a creepy feel going on here. I wanted to leave the inside a little bit lighter color so it looks like it's kind of glowing. I have noticed that that's not gonna be something that stands out too much unless I have a contrasting color. So I'm going to have a little bit of blue just to make it stand out a little bit more. And the reason that makes it pop a little bit better than just having the white is because it's an opposite color to the orange. So that's instead of adding contrast through light and dark, you're adding contrast through. And these, they wouldn't have teeth. It would still be those little plant thingies. So it wouldn't be that color. Cool. I like to play with contrasts a lot. Essentially, like contrasting your artwork properly makes it actually read better. So understanding what elements and what parts you want to focus on is very important at first. And that comes with composition, that comes with what feel you want to portray, and that comes a lot with practice and just seeing what's right and wrong. Like what looks right, what doesn't look right, and then adjusting, according to it. But if you don't adjust and you don't change and you don't think of these things, it's going to be nearly impossible for you to grow as a person or as an artist. You need to be self-critical. You need to realize that you're not like the best ever. You might be really good, but every time that you learn something new, it opens up 10 more different avenues that you can go into. So being an artist essentially means that there's never an end goal. There's never a finish line. You just kind of just keep going. Got a little bit of green just so he stands out a little bit more against the background. Also use a little bit more green on the arms to make it stand out from the orange. And no, I guess the eye's green now. It doesn't look too bad. Yeah, whatever. Just go. Mistakes happen. With every kind of art, mistakes happen. Don't fret. Don't worry. There's always a way to fix anything in art. You can either make it into something else or just slightly change the design. That's fine too. There's nothing wrong with messing up. That's why we're artists, we're creative. So we get used to that stuff. But it's really funny. Like, honestly, like, to me, the funniest part about going and teaching people how to do caricatures, and don't like judge me on this because it's just hilarious seeing new people freak out because they think that they're gonna upset the people that they're drawing. Oh my god, I find that hilarious. Because most people don't care. Is this gonna work? Yeah, that works, I guess. The only reason, or the only person that tends to be insecure tends to be ourselves. Like, we don't, when we draw other people and stuff, like, they just love it. Like, it's super hard sometimes to like feel like you're the center of attention to absolutely anything. So whenever anybody gets drawn, that's normally a really cool thing for them. Or if they see somebody create art in general, like, some people are just genuinely stoked out of their mind just to see somebody else create something. Because it's kind of like magic sometimes to them. You know, I like to reference the whole coding and like technology in general. Because whenever I think about technology, whenever I think like how my phone works, how my phone like actually manages to do all the things that it does. Maybe if you're talking to somebody that's very technologically savvy, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's simple. Satellites, blah 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 networks, blah 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 clothing. Blah. Cool. That person understands that. That person thinks that's a very normal thing. I, for example, I have absolutely like very little technological like savviness. So when it comes down to like knowing all that stuff, to me that's magic. So somebody that actually knows that stuff is like fascinating, right? So a lot of people see that about your art. Like, you are a fantastic creature to be able to actually create art. Now, creating art and actually enjoying the process of it, and understanding that you are a magical little thing that creates art, takes time, takes age, and then eventually you get used to it and then you understand it, but it takes a while to get there. Can you recommend the best caricature pen? At the risk of everyone buying these out, I'm going to show you guys my favorite caricature pen, if I have any. It's these. These guys right here are the best caricature pen. The reason being is pretty simple. The tip is, well, this one's relatively dry, but even dry, it gives you a nice thick to thin line. The only thing is, it smudges easy. So you have to be very careful as to how you draw your caricatures. You can't just pile it on like you can with a Sharpie or something like that, because sometimes it'll smudge. But the tip of these things is marvelous. Like it never actually deforms either. So it's just a really nice drawing pen, and when they get dry, they're perfect for sketching, stubble, light eyes, or doing any little light detail work that you need to do that you would normally wouldn't be able to do with a Sharpie. Or so learning your utensil and learning the limitations and what benefits it has at every stage of its life is crucial when it comes down to caricaturing. Now, I've been doing that for almost like 20 years now. So I think it's 18 years now. So it's just simple notes that you can, keep in mind. Let's have them say something. In the creepy word bubble. Hi guys. We'll do like a little distress lines around the word bubble, just to give it that extra creepy feeling. Hi, Stan. And just like that, you can easily create a scene. Like it's super easy to tell stories. Now, telling stories with the purpose of telling a story, that's the hard part. Like starting a comic or writing a book, that's the hard part. But writing, like coming up with something to tell a story is relatively easy. All right, let's continue on. Let's read some more comments. Is that from Mario Rodgon? No. Oh, like, yeah, this guy right here? Yeah, this guy right here. We were talking about carnivorous plants. Like yours, I'm definitely having difficulty doing that. I want to learn draw ourselves as cartoon like yours. Okay, so the first thing you gotta do if you want to learn how to draw yourself as a cartoon. Okay? Identify 3 features about yourself. Self doodles. So with me, can you guys see it? Yeah, you guys can see it. Okay. For me, my identifiable features are the fact that I am bald. Okay. The fact that I am bald is a gigantic factor in who I am. I normally do not have hair. If you add hair to me, I stop looking like myself. So I absolutely need to be bald. Normally, your hair is a very big factor within the way that you portray yourself. So if you do have like a certain hairstyle that you prefer, you can always draw that and make sure to stick to that, especially when it comes down to your drawings, because you're like, you just got to make sure that you get used to drawing the same shapes over and over. That's essentially it. That's all you got to really worry about. I'm going to get rid of the teeth on this guy and just have it be like goop. There you go. That looks better. Okay, so the next thing that I have to, like identify myself with is my mustache. So my number 2 is my mustache. Got my nose, my mustache. My mustache is... I like the way that Raj in the Big Bang Theory says mustache. So I have my mustache, and I normally have facial hair. So it's either a little like goatee or have like a full beard, but the one thing that is the most identifiable is my mustache. So the next thing that I gotta make sure that all my drawings of me have is a mustache. And number 3 is glasses. So I have to wear glasses because I'm blind. It doesn't help that I'm in front of a computer all day, but understanding how glasses work is very important to me, because if I draw my glasses with this little earlet at the top, like most people do when they draw glasses, and it does look like me, but it looks like me with a different types of glasses. So I have to make sure that I draw myself with my accessories, or the things that make me look like me more. I can just draw any generic glasses, but it wouldn't look good. So no, yes, and yes, I think down to those levels. That is the important factors of making something look like me, is making sure that the things that I'm putting on myself looks like me. So if we combine these 3 elements, regardless of what I do with these, so let's make some random shapes. And if those elements are all bald, let's do a 3/4 here. They're all bald. They all have a mustache. Not even a nose at this point. The mustache seems to be easiest to draw. It's 2 little ovals that connect where my nose goes, underneath my nose. Little facial hair. And then glasses. Let's make them tiny in this one. And this one overly large. All those 3 elements together make it look like me. I can make animals look like me too. That's funny, but you can't. By adding those same elements, a bear is not bald, but I can add the other elements to make it look like me. So let's give this little bear a mustache. And some glasses. And now we have bear rod. Panda rod, if you want it. So, taking 3 elements and then applying those to different things will make the character resemble you. Take that to your advantage. Figure out what your 3 traits are. Is it your hairstyle? Is it your face? Is it your smile? Is it your eyebrows? Maybe it's your nose. You know, everybody has distinctive features, so you just have to figure out what that distinctive feature is for yourself. And then once you do that, just draw yourself doing different things and different shapes and different forms, and you know, sooner or later you'll just be able to draw yourself in absolutely everything looking like you. Like me. I've been working with I love all those books. The Spider in the Face. Hey, the best teacher live again. When can I what? The live so sick. Get this bots out of here. Yo, Sam, love using those caricatures. Create tutorial series for caricature drawing. Okay, so that one's gonna be coming. But since that's such a like deep topic, as in like I don't think you guys understand how deep caricaturing can go. Now, I don't mean deep as in like, oh yeah, there's a lot of detail that goes into caricaturing, blah 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 blah. No, what I mean is you can straight up make an entire career out of just caricaturing. And not just any like a career, you can make a very good career out of doing that. And if you are actually decent at it, you can go about, generating quite a bit of fame for yourself. You just have to know how to actually do that. So that is a topic that I've been meaning to tackle, but I don't want to half-ass it because honestly, caricaturing is the one thing that changed my career for the better. Now, it took a lot of my years away because I settled for being a caricature artist for a long time, but it was without that job, without that skill set, I don't know where I would be. Like, I don't think I would have gotten a job anywhere. To me, drawing caricatures just seemed like such a normal thing, like that I did so much. But at the end of the day, it ended up being one of the best skill sets that I've learned. It's generated probably the most money out of everything that I have done. Caricaturing has generated me the most money in my entire career. And if theme park sketching was actually a profitable thing, because it's not. It's like something you should be taking on just for the experience to do it and like get that knowledge in there for a little bit. But you should not be doing this like caricaturing for very long if that's not something you like just absolutely love. Now, if you fucking love it, and I know people that have just absolute like passion for it more beyond what I could ever pompously comprehend, but some people just absolutely love the artwork and love the styling of a caricature, so they just want to do that for the rest of their lives, and that's perfectly fine too. Once you find that art that you like, that art method, that art, like branch that you enjoy, hey, enjoy the hell out of it. Be the best at it. See right here, I created a tangent. So now it looks like the eyebrow is going all the way in. So now I got to make the eyebrow thicker so that it doesn't do that. And it still looks wrong, but I'm going to try to fix it a little bit with a couple corrections. See, the issue with me in caricatures is that it's a love-hate thing. Like, when I get to do my own thing, for example, with like my Weird Tunes factory, right, that I have for my caricature service. So, with those, they're very particular. If you want to get a drawing from me, the conditions are as follows. You send in 3 to 4 pictures of yourself doing things that you like, things that you love. You then allow me the liberty to draw anything that gets inspired by your drawing, by your pictures. Now, this can be represented in a bunch of different ways. It's my creative freedom that allows me to be happy with that. So, at one point, someone told me to draw them like an egg. And I drew them like an egg. And they freaking loved it. Another person asked me to draw them. He said they liked hippos and they liked Fantasia. So I drew my dude as a hippo in Fantasia. And he just went nuts. He fucking loved it. So I aim to please, and I don't think I've ever had a person that was negatively influenced or like by what I created. But that's the only way that I do caricatures nowadays. I don't do the cuticatures, is what I call, where it's just like the very basic face and just someone smiling. Nah, fuck that shit. I'm done with that. I've been doing that too long. Knowing anatomy and caricatures is not necessary. You don't need to know any anatomy to draw caricatures at all. You don't. But the more you know it, the better your caricatures are going to be, considerably. Now, I can show you how to create a caricature by just creating almost L-shaped lines. So 1, 2, 3, right? It's like beep, 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 beep. That's a basic jaw. Now, the hair, you draw the outside of the hair. So you go, yay, whatever outline of the hair is. You don't worry about the ears. You don't worry about anything yet. So the jaw, you start with the jaw. You go into the head. Now you draw your ears. Your ears are going to give you the reference for everything else. The ears are going to measure out where your eyebrows are. So your eyebrows are going to be right there. So if you draw your ears really big, consider your eyebrows to be a lot more separated. This is the bottom line. This bottom line is going to tell you where your nose goes. Okay? Your nose is going to give you your nose bridge. The nose bridge is going to give you the rest of what you need for your cheekbones and your eye socket. You don't have to draw these lines. You just have to know that they're there. Okay? At this point, you can go in and cartoonify your drawing any way you want. Right? And then consider the spacing for the mouth. And then you draw the inside lines, as well as a little neck, into a very simple downward line for t-shirts. And I have just taught you exactly what they teach you when you learn and you start working at a caricature piece. That is the process to drawing caricatures. You normally do them with a marker. Let me see if I have one that's not dry. I'll do it with this one. It's not black, but you'll see it. So when you're drawing caricatures, you're normally drawing relatively quick. And you are trying to get as much detail as you can as quickly as possible. You will make mistakes. You will mess up. Placement of things will not always land exactly where you want them or where you need them to be. But at the end of the day, since this is probably going to be one of like 1,000 characters you end up drawing, you're like, okay, cool, awesome. Take note, ears off. That's why we draw the ears after. Or we draw the ears first and then we base everything off the ears. Another example. We draw the ears, eyebrows, eyes. And yes, sometimes the eyes can literally be just dashes. And not because they're Asian. People just smile and then they close their eyes. So that's what happens. Okay. So we have a, I don't know, a hat. Some hair inside and then whatever the hat. Into the neck, into a t-shirt with downward lines. So as you can see, it's supposed to be a quick way to draw and create resemblance in a drawing. That can be done with a pencil, that can be with a marker, that can be with anything you want. But most of the time, whenever you go do it at like theme parks or you go work to do it for somebody else, like at an event or like a graduation party or something like that, you normally just take a marker. I like to take a ballpoint pen and a highlighter. I did that with the last gig that I went to. It was amazing. It was so fun. Like, it was taking me a little bit longer than the other artists to draw things, but my drawings were being received 10 times better. So I was incredibly happy with that result, and I plan to do my caricature gigs in the way that I feel like drawing them from now on. not necessarily based on anybody else's stuff. Now, if you're using these markers, though, they're water-based markers. Let me show you guys what happens with water-based markers. Hey, what? Are these not water-based? Hold on. Is the black different? I thought this was gonna smudge. There you go. So if you don't wait for it to dry, it smudges the living hell out of things. So be careful when you draw with these, and be careful when you draw with Sharpies, and then try to use watercolors. Sharpies and watercolors do not match. What do you know about, I mean, how much is it important? It's things or tips. Usually see people and they need a lot. Great, that helps. I always draw the hair out first, not the outline. It looks goofy or off. Where can I get your How to Draw Anything book? My How to Draw Anything book is not out yet. My How to Draw Anything book will be out, hopefully. The publishing deal, I don't know if it was a scam that they were trying to like get the concept for my book and not like want to pay me for it. But I never heard back from the lady after I sent them a very rough outline of my book. So that is a little bit concerning to me. Actually, considerably concerning to me, because I kind of let my guard down. So hopefully no like imitation books come out. But since I didn't really provide any like of the teaching, I just provided an outline. It's impossible for them to actually replicate what I'm going to be teaching. So I'm not too overly concerned. But at the same time, it's really annoying because I put a lot of effort into that. God damn it. So now I'm going to draw an angry red panda because you know, it's just really upsetting when companies do that. Or people in general. I think it was, her name was like Catherine or something like that. I'll have to figure it out. And if it is a scam, and like that unfortunate soul is going to have to suffer the rage of like 100,000 people being upset at her. So, I don't envy that. We learned from our previous drawings that red pandas have very thick, coarse hair. So it's kind of like a Christmas tree. So we got to make sure that we draw that every single time we draw a red panda from now on. How's your day going today? Says Hollywood Noodles. Oh, my day's going great. I get to stream a little bit. I sold a couple books, so I have to go to the books. I got to go to the post office to like, you know, send them out. I get to finish recording a lot of my course today, so I'm gonna be really happy and excited for that. Let's see, I got to stream, I got to spend some time with all of you. That's really, really fun every single time I get to do that. And, you know, things are just looking good for me. I can't complain. Going into the weekend, it's gonna be a fun little weekend. So I'm adding little lines inside to create a little bit more depth to whatever scene I'm creating. In this case, I'm making it look like grass and maybe like little twigs and the plants and stuff like that coming out. Maybe add some butterflies instead of flies to contrast the fact that he's so grouchy. The markings on a red panda are very important. Normally the eyes have like a little dagger coming out from the sides into a big poofy cheek. Okay. They have little tiny markings at the top of her head, kind of looks like little eyebrows. So I'm going to use them as eyebrows. And let's give them little eyes. Minuscule little tiny dots will be my eyeball. And now to color. And then after we finish coloring Mr. Red Panda here, we will be going into our final doodle for the day, which will be our little squid in root beer. Dude, delete the bots. Hey man, I'm trying, but I can't draw and like actually go on here and like block people all the time. Unfortunately, that's just there you go. Do you prefer drawing old school way or digital? I prefer traditional. I love the feeling of sketching in my sketchbook. Nothing beats the feeling of creating a cool piece of art in your sketchbook. And nowadays you can just scan it or take a picture of it and like bring your stuff in, you know. Nowadays it's not hard to choose both. Like you have the liberty of creating a lot of fun things on your iPad or, you know, on your phone too. Like some people are amazing. Like some people create some epic things on their phone. Like if you thought that back in the day, like using WordPad and people were creating these masterfully pieces of artwork now. Like now that the phones are like essentially baby computers, or have been for a while, but now they're like even more so. People are getting really creative and they're really doing some awesome things. Like it's so fun to see so many people be creative and have the tools accessible to them to be able to do that. Okay, there we go. Little red pandas have a darker belly. So I'm gonna grab a darker tone and just add a little bit of that to the bottom. The palette that I'm using is Essentials Royal Lancaster 18 color set. My buddy Jerry bought it for me after he saw that I was using 99-cent watercolors. And I think he bought it at Walmart. So that I don't really know how much they are. I'm not a person that goes in and checks how much gifts are. That's, like, in my sense, a little rude. But I do believe that they are on the more affordable side, and they work amazing. Just have to make sure that you don't toss them around all the time, because otherwise they break. Okay. All right. Look at little Mr. Red Panda. He's so cute. Anyway, sick drawings. I can relate so much to sketchbook art. It's very helpful. And guess what, everyone? Once we're finished with this page, we're going into the last page of the sketchbook. You know what that means, right? Do you guys understand what that means? It means that I get to scan this in now. I get to scan it in. I get to format it. And now I get to, like format it so you guys can get inspiration books. I will have mini inspiration books for free for my for the people on my subscription list. They'll get mini ones, but I want to generate a bunch of books and then essentially make them anti-art block books. What I mean by that, give you guys little rules to them. Flip to a random page, create a piece of artwork from that. Boom. And with books like these that are filled to the brim with random stuff that we talked about, it'll make it really, really easy for you guys to just flip to a page and be like, oh, I can draw that. Oh, we can do that. Oh, let me draw my version of that. Oh, what do you think of robots? Blah, 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 blah. And that'll, staple along with really cool pieces of artwork to inspire you to create something new. So that is my goal for the end of the year, and that's going to be something that I try to release before December. That and the pinups book is going to be printed relatively soon. The pinups book has to be printed. I am not waiting any longer. I might just do like a... I'm going to do like an open call for anybody that wants to receive a printed copy of that book, and then just use that as pre-orders. That book needs to be printed. It's the most beautiful thing that I have ever created. Like, that book is my little masterpiece, and I need to print that. Like, until I am able to create the animation and the stories that I want, that's gonna be my little masterpiece until then. And I am very happy with it. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of being able to draw women to that level now. It's like life, bucket list, hack, black, everything in one, man. Like, if you guys want to support and you guys want to get something really freaking dope out of it, that's what you should get. The Coffee Break Doodles is really good too, but if you want to get like massive inspiration and you like drawing ladies, that's the book you should get. So wait for it to get printed, and then it'll be really cool. I want a hardcover of it. I want to make it like, maybe I'll make it accessible through Amazon so you guys can get it like overseas really easy too. And then just for the people that want to get it with like a signature or with a doodle, then I'll have those like for myself, and I'll just order a bunch for myself so you can do that. I can relate so much. I like digital, but it feels weird when the pen slides on the glass. Yeah, that is one thing that I'll never get used to. It's the displacement of it. It's just sometimes it's just a little bit weird, and it doesn't really give you the same feeling. So you don't have the same freedom that you would have with, let's say, a ballpoint pen or a pencil. And it just, I don't know. Like, the iPad kind of gets that a little bit better, and I fell in love with the iPad after, trying it because it was just so nice. But at the same time, you still don't get that feel of paper, regardless of you like screens that you put on. So it's just different. You just have to get used to that. Oh, I just got it printed out, but I want a hardcover. You printed out my book? How'd it come out? Like, Jamo, like, I'm honestly, like, curious. I'm not mad. I'm not upset. It's not necessarily meant to be printed because the quality is meant for a web. So, hopefully the things didn't come out, like, a little bit too fuzzy or anything. But I would love to see some pictures of that, if you don't mind sharing them. What are my books called? My book is called Coffee Break Doodles and Volume 1, and then Pinups. That's the other one. You can find them through the link in my YouTube. I think you can also find them in the link in the stream here. I don't know if I have the stand link, but the Instagram is for sure definitely there. All right, so as we go into our last doodle, we are going to draw a little squid in root beer. Oh. So little squid and root beer. Root beer mugs to me will always be those hexagonal mugs. Like the beer mugs, those will always be root beer, ice cream floats, and beer mugs to me. So I'm gonna draw that. There's a lovely message from Vicky. Vicky, I'm gonna get to see her. Oh, I get to see her. I get to go see her in October. I get to see her in October 18th. And I fly into Scotland then. Man, I can't wait to see her again. It was such a lovely time when I got to spend time with her in Scotland. And now she invited me back. So now I get to go back. So if I have any peeps in Scotland, hit me up. Let's go draw. I'll throw them at you on Instagram. Oh, thank you. Good on paper. Oh, nice. Let's see. It thinks that's awesome. Woohoo. Okay, so a squid. So a squid is going to have a lot of legs, but we can make him under the water and then have his little squiddy head. And then he's just going to be like all tucked in right here. Okay, so let's make the head of the squiddy. And then we got to figure out how we're going to wrap himself around. I'm leaving the negative space here open because I want to create still like foam and, you know, like all the little things that go on top of a soda mug. And then the little arms are going to be kind of... wrapping around all inside of here. Like he's really in there. And then he's just gonna be sucking on the straw underneath the water. Yeah, Squiddy. And now we color it in. Root beer is a darker color, but we can't make it too dark because then otherwise it's not going to be legible. So, let's see if this is too dark. Nah, that's fine. We're going to leave the edges of the glass a little bit lighter with white because it has to indicate the reflection or refraction of the light from the glass. So that's why we don't do it all the way to the edge. I'm also leaving the little squiddy a little bit lighter than the rest of it just to make him stand out a little bit more. Okay. And then we're going to go with the top. Squids are normally like an orangey red. So let's try this one. And they're normally in water, so they're going to be wet. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a highlight. There you go. Give it a little bit of this color inside as well. It's going to blend in a little bit with the other color, but it's going to tie it in a little bit more towards the top. So I'm just going to gradiently like work it in. Just like let it slowly fade into the other color. Cool. And to generate a little bit more contrast with the white, I'm going to color a little bit of the outside of the mug, as well as a little bit of the ground where it's supposed to be wet. All right, cool. And what should we call Squiddy? What should Squiddy be called? I wait until one of you guys say it, and then I will make sure to say my goodbyes to all of you. Thank you all so much. You guys can follow me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. All of these are under the name Rodgon. Okay? There's a lot of valuable resources for you guys in these things. Inky. Steve. Oh, two Steves. I think we're going to have to go with Steve. Steve. The root beer addicted squid. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for keeping up with me on my streams. If you guys do want to support, the best way right now is to go subscribe to my Instagram. It's $5 a month, and you get a lot of free stuff. And I'm adding extra stuff every month, and it's going to accumulate and just create these massive value for you guys over time. So please make sure to go subscribe if you guys feel inclined to help out a person that teaches you every day. And if not, don't worry about it. Just go subscribe to my shit so you guys can actually get me to the numbers where the corporations give me money. So thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day. You guys are amazing. And I hope you guys have a fantastic start to your weekend. All right? Later, Gators.